Hello, hello, and hello. This is your girl, Latanya Elise, author and hope enthusiast. Thank you for joining me on this powerful quest of candid conversation on practical and spiritual solutions, bringing biblical truths to everyday situations. We will discuss real-life challenges merged with relationship, purpose, family, and faith. As I delve in deep with authentic sessions to speak life and break barriers, you'll find a journey worth the travel. It will be filled with healing, laughter, encouragement, and prayer. Now, as we navigate the seasons and challenges we face on our path to glorify God, you will grow to understand more in your personal and spiritual endeavors, drawing you closer to the heart of God. On that note, let's delve in. Every day we face an adversary. We have a powerful and actively dangerous enemy working against us daily. And it's a dangerous situation not to know it or even be aware that we have these enemies. You see, these enemies are not flesh and blood. They are invisible and spiritual beings. And the things I talk about are not discerned by our own human senses. These things we see, taste, touch, we believe are the real things, but they are not truly real. They are temporal, impermanent, and often deceptive. And we can't rely on our own human senses. This is why it's important to have the spirit of discernment. The things that we see are partly real, and they do not endure. But the world we cannot see and discern with our own natural senses are truly real and are the things that endure. I am speaking of two kingdoms, two opposing kingdoms that are at war with one another. These are not natural kingdoms, such as Britain or Sweden or other nations. These are invisible spiritual kingdoms, the kingdom of God and the kingdom of Satan. In the book of Matthew, chapter 12, verses 26 through 28, Jesus stated that Satan has a kingdom. He also stated that if he casts out demons by the Spirit of God, surely the kingdom of God has come upon you. Now, when these two kingdoms are brought out into the open, this is when you see the driving out of these demonic forces. This is the convincing evidence that the kingdom of God is more powerful than the kingdom of Satan. This is why Satan particularly dislikes and opposes the ministry of deliverance, because it brings out into the opening the things he wants to rather keep secret. And we all know anything that's kept in secret does not heal, does not get well. It only grows in darkness. And we know what darkness breeds. To bring more insight to the nature and the structure of Satan's kingdom, Ephesians 6 and 12, and we've all heard this verse time after time. It says our wrestling is not against flesh and blood. It is not against something human. It's against rulership in various areas and descending orders of authority. It's against world dominators of this present darkness, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenlies. You know, when you actually delve in, you realize that Satan's kingdom is highly organized. He was the chief angel in charge of a large section of angels, and he was given a divinely organized system. And when Satan rebelled against God, he took those same angels into rebellion with him. And the organized, highly organized system that he observed and curated under God, he took that system and turned it against God. But he gets no credit, because the credit ultimately belongs to God. But let's take into account that he's no simpleton. He's a very astute, powerful, and evil being. And although he's powerful, he's not more powerful than God. His kingdom is not more powerful than God's. But Satan made a sad error when he turned rebellion against his creator. He sought to make himself equal with God. Satan's ambition was to elevate himself to a position of equality with God. And he did that by rebellion against him and using the system against him and taking 1/3 of the angels to rebel under his charge. Can you imagine in heaven Satan going around saying to the angels how talented they were and that he'd give them positions that they so deserved because God didn't appreciate them? He drew them in with deception and empty promises, only to rule them and dominate them. You know, the thing about domination is that God never dominates us. Domination is satanic. Satan's ambition, desire, and strategy is to come to the place where he dominates this entire world. But he will not dominate it with a system of darkness. It's not going to work like that. Nevertheless, keep in mind that between us and God, there is a satanic system. And sometimes in your prayers, you have to break through satanic forces that oppose you coming in direct personal contact with God. This will be the turning point in your life. Pray through. There's an opposing kingdom between you and God. When you're in the center of God's plan, that's when you have the most opposition. In the book of Daniel, Daniel humbled himself before the Lord. And the best way to do this is through fasting. Fasting is an appointed way for us to humble ourselves before God. The angels of the Most High had to break through from God's kingdom to get the answer to Daniel because of all the opposition between us and God, the kingdom of darkness that was trying to block, hinder, and delay those prayers from reaching the highest heavens. It took Daniel 21 days to get the answer because the angels were in opposition, fighting to break through. These principalities that reside into this dark realm continue to fight and try to attempt to block those prayers. But Daniel's prayer, because of his humbleness to fast, has set all heavens in motion. There was a war going on up there. It set the angels of God on their way. But Daniel continued to pray, and he held on for 21 days before he got that answer. Sometimes when you're praying and you don't get the answer, it's not because you're not praying for the right things. It's because there's opposition. And sometimes you just have to take it to that next level to get through to that answer or that breakthrough. Imagine this. The angel Gabriel fought and wrestled with the prince of Persia when the angel Michael had to come and help him to get Daniel's prayer through all those dark forces. The prince of the kingdom of Persia is the satanic angels whom Satan set out over Persia Empire to work out opposition for Satan's purposes by resisting God's purposes. I said all of that to say, never stop praying. Never cease to pray. When you feel like your prayer is not being answered or you can't get a breakthrough, sometimes you have to go into a fast. Matthew 17:21 says, "Nevertheless, this kind only goes out by prayer and fasting," implying that this kind means this kind of evil, this kind of devil, this species of possession where they have had long possession, where they produce such painful, fixed, and alarming effects that they can be expelled only through the connection with prayer and fasting. Because prayer is that next level embodiment of miracles, of victory. This is the highest kind of faith that's produced only by this much prayer and fasting, by the abstinence from food as fits the mind for the highest exercise of religion, and it leaves us free to hold communion with God for the ultimate answer and breakthrough. Hey, sometimes you just have to do what you have to do, and it all depends on how bad you need it and how bad do you want it, and what you're willing to do to get through to that breakthrough. Never stop praying. Never cease to pray. There's always hope. Don't be afraid of getting your breakthrough, because now that you know there's an adversary, you also know a God that's more powerful, that's omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. He's everywhere. He's all-knowing. He's the source, the ultimate source, and he's more powerful than any kingdom and any beast system. And on that note, take care of yourselves, take care of your mind, and guard your heart, and take care of others. Until next time, Shalom. Thank you for joining me at the Seeds Unspoken podcast, hosted by yours truly, Latanya Elise. Shalom.